MrBeast just keeps raising the bar for YouTubers. You know, no more of this, like, coming out with your own coffee brands. No, now you have to start a whole restaurant chain.
That's it. That's my intro.
Hi, I'm Amanda and you're watching Swell Entertainment, and this is a very impromptu I tried it so you don't have to video, which is why I am sitting on the floor. My makeup isn't fully done, and my hair is in a ponytail and in a hat, because it's just not, it's not a good hair day. We are reviewing MrBeast Burger. MrBeast is a major channel on YouTube with close to 50 million subscribers. Massive videos like the one that he posted a couple of days ago called I Opened a Restaurant That Pays You to Eat At It, where he opened a restaurant in his town, gave away free food, and paid people to eat it. At the end of this video, he announced that he was opening up MrBeast locations across the US.
I literally just opened 300 restaurants all across America, but we only serve people through delivery apps. Basically, open up whatever you use and search MrBeast Burger.
Which from my understanding is not fully the case. However, phrasing it like this does make it look better. First and foremost, because I've been following this on Twitter since this all was announced yesterday, I believe it was. I'm currently filming this on Sunday. Before I even look in the bag, before I taste anything, I just want to acknowledge that I am impressed. I don't think there's anything wrong with people complaining. I'm probably going to end up complaining about something or other. I've been ordering food this entire pandemic, you know, and I acknowledge that when there's humans involved, there is a certain expectation for human error. I am not going to blame MrBeast if there's an issue with this order because I'm not expecting him as a human being to be at every single location. I can acknowledge that starting MrBeast Burger and doing all this, even if it's just for a limited time, this is a huge amount of work. Whether you're familiar with the restaurant industry or not, to set up as many locations across the US as they have, it's insane. So I can acknowledge that I am impressed by the sheer amount of work that I know went into this, because he's not showing the amount of work that went into this. And honestly, MrBeast, if you ever want to start a side channel, okay, another channel that is only just about the prep work that goes into some of your like videos, I would be very interested in that, because this is insane. How I'm explaining this is gonna get jumbled, but I think it's okay to criticize things and still acknowledge that like it's a big deal that this thing happened. Let me elaborate on that, because when I eventually get to my explanation of how all this happened and how MrBeast was able to do this and how it's not actually him opening 300 locations, or at least that's my understanding of things with what I was able to figure out, it's still a huge amount of work that I no doubt know went into this. Just because a lot of work went into something doesn't mean that it's above criticism or that it's above flaws. Does that make sense? People being upset about missing items or their orders being late is valid because they are spending money on a product. You can acknowledge that something is flawed and still acknowledge that it was a huge feat to pull off. I'm explaining this weird, but like hopefully my point is getting across. No one's gonna die because their order was 3 hours late, which mine was. So I downloaded the MrBeast Burger app last night. It was in the App Store. So where I'm located, there are 4 locations near me. Only one of them will deliver to my location, and it's not even the closest one. And one of them, which is the one at the Irvine Spectrum, it's currently closed. Not sure why. Order through various delivery apps. However, when I checked DoorDash, which is the one that I use currently, it originally said closed even though they were open at 10:30, the locations near me. So I just ordered through the app. I ordered at like 10:40-ish and I was expecting a wait. Got a text message that said, hey Amanda, your order for MrBeast Burger is being delivered at 11:24. And they sent me a link that was a DoorDash link so that I could track the order. So even though I ordered through the app, it did go back through DoorDash, even though when I checked DoorDash again to see if the store was open, it said no. And then at 1:24 p.m. is when I got a notification saying that my driver was approaching with my order. More than anything, I feel bad for the DoorDash driver. I ended up tipping more. Really worried that she was just sitting there at the location, like waiting for my order to be delivered. Like, I feel bad. So I gave her more money on top of the tip for the app because I just felt really bad. So I ordered the Beast Style Burger Combo, Chris Style, and Carl's Grilled Cheese, okay? And so the combo comes with fries and a drink, but I'm gonna be honest, looking in this bag, I don't see a drink. I'm expecting all of this to be cold. It's been a while, okay? Literally, it is now 1:43. It's been about, 15 minutes since I grabbed this from the front door, so that's fine. There was an option to get these seasoned or unseasoned. I got seasoned, obviously, because I'm not a psycho. Who gets unseasoned fries if you can get seasoned fries? Okay. Honestly, could definitely use more salt, but The spice is actually pretty good. I don't know what to start with. Should I do the grilled cheese? Yeah, this is all cold. So Carl's grilled cheese. Kind of want to save the stickers for my internet collection. Who knows what the deal is with MrBeast Burger, like long term. I'm assuming this is like a temporary pop-up type of thing. I don't know if this is going to be, this looks sad. The Carl's grilled cheese. So in the video, MrBeast said that Carl likes grilled cheese, but he likes it made with the buns inverted. So this is supposedly 3 pieces of cheese, which is what it looks like, and then inverted buns. Honestly, I should just put this stuff in the oven and just like let it warm up a bit more, because this is like cold and sad. It's not bad. It's just a grilled cheese and hamburger buns. That's it. So this is the Chris style. So I believe this is meat, cheese, and then fries. Oh, there's bacon in this too. Okay, cool. I like how the moment that I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try and be a pescatarian, because I want to see how it affects like my mood, my sleep patterns, just my overall health. And then MrBeast comes out with a burger restaurant, and I'm just like, okay. Okay, as far as what's best, so far this. Maybe it's just because the fries are in there. But, like, they're not the seasoned fries. Or they are, but just very, very minimally. But there's, like, no salt or seasoning in this burger whatsoever, and that's weirding me out a little bit, honestly. Like, okay, here, just a piece of meat. Yeah, like, next to no salt. I'm sorry, that's just weird. I kind of wish I had my Pepsi now. I got 2 things of ketchup, so that's nice. And last but not least, Beast style. This one I will admit I'm not super excited about, because I couldn't order it without pickles, and I don't like pickles. I could have easily probably modified it. There was a section where it's like, oh, special instructions, and I just didn't. I think I submitted it before I did anything, before I realized that was there, so that's my fuck up. Oh, this one smells good, though. Maybe that's the onions, I don't know. Okay, so this is, like, just a ton of raw onions coming off of this. Wow. Fuck. Right. Off, thank you. Everything's cooked through. I will say that. There were some people who said they got the chicken sandwich and that it wasn't cooked through. Obviously, I didn't get any of the chicken stuff, but this is all like, none of this meat is undercooked. There's just not a lot of flavor to the meat. But, you know, I'd take that over, you know, undercooked raw meat, so. So I ordered the double MrBeast. I'm fairly certain there's a triple MrBeast. Okay, so all around, this is good with the onions, but I honestly do like the fries and the bacon in the Chris style. So I'm thinking if I just got onions on the Chris style, it would be a better burger. Also more of the fry seasoning and just more salt all around. I'm sorry, there needs to be more seasoning in all the meat here. There's just not much here. It's just a lot of bland. Though, I feel like there's stuff in my teeth. Hold on. I should also clarify, I'm not judging like the amount of time that it took to get to me, like the actual delivery part itself, because where the order location that I could get from delivered to me was the only one in my area that would deliver to me, and it was 8 miles away, you know, and like I tracked it here and there. I know which freeway they took and all of that, so it's like I know I'm not blaming the delivery person themselves for how long it took, because obviously if the food wasn't ready, they couldn't take it to me. So yeah, there's the Beast style burger, the Chandler style, which is just meat and cheese, I think. Smashed crispy beef patties with house seasoning, served plain with American cheese on a bun. Okay, what house seasoning are you using? Because I can't imagine there's a lot of seasoning going into this. It's just it just tastes like meat. Someone else, please, who has actually tried this, especially if you're not in Southern California, if you're in another state and you were able to get a hold of the MrBeast burgers, whatever, you know, like, please let me know what you thought of the seasoning of the actual meat itself, because it just tastes like nothing. Chris style is what I got. And then sandwiches, we had Carl's grilled cheese, which is what I got. I'm sorry, I know you guys were like really involved in like designing these photos. The Carl's grilled cheese, I feel like you could have made that look better. Cheese looks a little sad. I don't know what you were doing there. And I'm assuming they have some type of deal with Pepsi or something, since they have Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, and then Sierra Mist, which I'm fairly certain is owned by Pepsi. Food's okay. I'm impressed by the sheer amount of stores they were able to do, and I'm assuming they are paying people, you know, to run these places. I'm hoping, at least, you know, so I can look at it as creating jobs. I think that's cool, unless they are making some type of deal. It's like, hey, you're a restaurant, you're gonna also make this burger and provide for us. So about that, I looked up the locations of the MrBeast burgers that were available to me at my address. Looking up the location at the Spectrum didn't lead to anything, but considering that location is marked as closed in the app, I'm assuming that they are not fulfilling any orders as it is. I ended up going over to the Spectrum because it's really not that far away from me, and 618 Spectrum Center Drive is actually the location of a Wetzel's Pretzels that had no marketing and no indication that it was affiliated with MrBeast whatsoever. However, the other 3 locations of the 4 that were available to me are all the locations of currently operating Buca di Beppo's, which is a different restaurant chain. I'm not sure if that is the case with other states or what, but at least in my location, it looks like MrBeast has made some type of deal with Buca di Beppo to fulfill his orders for MrBeast burgers. It would make sense if that's what they were doing, considering, again, those are already operating restaurants with fully functioning kitchens and staffs. Since business is currently kind of in flux because of the pandemic, it would make sense if any of these companies would be willing to partake in this, especially if they are getting a portion of the profits. This is a gimmick sales tactic, so even with the low prices that they are offering, there is a lot of money probably being made, and I'm assuming that these restaurants are either taking a large portion of the profits, if not all of the profits, and then MrBeast is profiting off of the merch sales that are also being done through the MrBeast app for MrBeast burgers, or as he is profiting off of whatever deal he has currently with Pepsi. In this excerpt from an article I talk about in a minute, reiterates here that a portion of each sale goes to food relief charities across the US according to MrBeast, which once again makes me think that MrBeast is making very little money from the actual sale of food to begin with, and the portions are being divided between the charities, the restaurants, and then MrBeast is profiting off of the merch around this whole situation. Though MrBeast, his friends, and his team came up with the items and all of that, he probably has very little control over how the items are actually executed or any control over how the orders are fulfilled in general. No doubt there was a lot of negotiation and stuff that went into these deals. I'm assuming this is a fairly hands-off from the individualized locations as you can really get across the country. I'm assuming that the location in his state and also the LA location that is delivering to all of these influencers that you keep seeing on Instagram and stuff, I'm assuming those are very separate entities and that he has more control over those ones. But as far as the ones in my state and probably the ones in other states, he probably has very little control over. His tweets, such as this one talking about getting more locations start up, is a further confirmation that this is the case across all of his locations, considering it is not easy to just do a pop-up restaurant. You can't just have a new restaurant in the span of a couple of days. That's just not feasibly possible, especially during a pandemic with all of the current health regulations in place. It's just not possible. So I'm assuming this tweet is referring to him trying to actively pursue more restaurant chains to make deals with to facilitate fulfilling orders for MrBeast burgers. This would also be more of an indication of why you can only order through delivery apps, because obviously if someone else is going to pick up your food, you're not going to know that you're getting a MrBeast burger from a Buca di Beppo. So here's further confirmation from the Dallas Morning News that this is the case across all locations. According to this publication, MrBeast is teaming up with Virtual Dining Concepts to launch a delivery-only restaurant brand, MrBeast Burger, and they're using Buca di Beppo chains to fulfill the orders. So again, this isn't something that's a secret. It's just not how it's being pitched to the audience for the most part. Overall, again, I am impressed. I think this is cool. I would really like to see the planning process of how this all went into it, regardless of how much time went into it or how boring it would be. I'm very intrigued. But as far as like people being like frustrated about the wait times and stuff, you have every right to be frustrated because again, at the end of the day, you are spending money. I saw someone say that they're giving money away with all the orders. I think that was just for that location where MrBeast did the first location for the video. I mean, I don't think they were doing money in every single bag because I can't imagine them being able to like facilitate that with all of these restaurants and all of these locations. I don't think that's a legitimate thing. However, honestly, if there was and my DoorDash driver took it, she earned it. You know what? She sat there for like, I think 2 hours to get this food. So she earned the money. She can have it. It's fine. This was a huge deal, even if it's not a perfect execution, and I can acknowledge that. To other YouTubers who think you can be MrBeast, because I don't think anyone can at this point, plus he has a whole team behind him at this point, if you think that this is just one person doing these things. He may be the one coming up with all the ideas, but like he's made it very clear that his friends are very involved in the process and things like that. So there's a whole team of people behind the MrBeast name. If you were just one random YouTuber and you think you can match or even recreate this MrBeast style burger place chain idea. You can't. Don't even attempt it. It'll be bad. If you do want to get into the restaurant industry, I don't recommend doing that. But if you do want to, start small. And that's gonna be it for this video. Were you able to get your hands on a MrBeast burger? If you are in a state that has like a ton of them, let me know. Do you also want MrBeast to do behind the scenes of some of his bigger videos showing the business side of things? Maybe I'm just a nerd for the business side of this industry, but I'm like very intrigued. I want more. Let me know, comment down below. Shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. If you'd also like to support me on Patreon, that'll be linked down below. If you'd like to follow me on my social media, that'll be all up here. And that's gonna be it. Have a good day. Go far. By the way, so no one gets mad at me, I will be eating all of these. I will be wrapping up what I don't finish and eating it later. What just fell out? A fry? I'm not gonna waste food. Thank you, Elaine, Alan, Elise, Braden, Cameron, Christopher, Chris, Cody, Golden, Crash, BC, Devin, Dirty One, Don, Elliot, Essen, Evan, Feckless, Hollow, Joe, John, Jordan, Joseph, Kenny, Kevin, Kim, Kristen, Lex, Lisa, Louise, Manga, Matt, Matthew S, Meme Lord Red, Michael, Jane, Nathaniel, Power Prowler, Rob, Robert, Ross, Sam, Simon, Stephen, Tasha, Timothy, Tom, Tyrone, Wayne, Wendy, Williams, Henry.